All of this, of course, is very sort of male biased in terms of this. These are females sort of making the best of the bad situation. You're some female langur monkey and some new male has come in and is intent on being infanticidal, and you've read evolutionary biology also. What do you want to do to maximize copies of your own genes in the next generation? Well, you've got this kid here who you're trying to protect. Would you protect that child to the point of your being killed? Probably not. And you don't see females doing that. Under what circumstance would a female be most motivated to defend her child to the point of her being seriously injured? Older females. Older females who are less likely to have another child after that. You're on the scene there, and who else from day one would be most willing to get injured in order to protect the kid? The maternal grandmother, who has no reproductive potential at that point. And what you see in these langur monkeys, the females will defend, not to the point of serious injury. The older the mother is, the more strenuously she defends, and the grandmothers defend even more. Following the same logic here playing out in that way. But you also have another option, which is to do something much more clever. And this is not in the world of after you've given birth, but the world of when you are pregnant. Because even in these species that have the competitive infanticide, the new male is also perfectly happy to harass a pregnant female. What have females evolved in a number of primate species? One of the great all-time ways of manipulating males. So you're this pregnant langur monkey, and in comes this new male, and you know you're going to go through like 6 more weeks of pregnancy, and they're going to be enormously costly, and the damn guy's going to kill your kids as soon as they're born, and what can you do, and all of that. And you come up with something very clever physiologically. You go into what is called pseudoestrus. Estrus being the term for when female primates are ovulating or sexually receptive, are in heat, and most primate species give external signs of when they're ovulating. There's engorgement of all sorts of tissues around the vagina and rear end and stuff, and that humans don't do, but they have some of the physiological residues of water retention, for example. So you've got all these external signs of I am ovulating, except you're not ovulating because you're pregnant. You are pseudo-ovulating. You are going through a pseudoestrus. You generate the picture of it. So what happens at that point with this new guy who's just shown up, and here's this like 4-month pregnant female who nonetheless looks like she's going through estrus? Well, these guys sit there then and say, well, that's kind of nice, and they go and mate with her, and like 2.5 weeks later she gives birth, and you know what the guy's going to do? He's going to sit there and say, what's the gestation period in my species? What's it? What's it, like 5 months or something? I've been here 3 weeks and already she's given birth. Whoa, what a guy, what a guy. And they fall for it. They fall for it every time. Females, by having these pseudoestrus things, the males are not infanticidal afterward when the female gives birth. So this whole world that initially makes no sense at all. Oh my God, animals killing members of their own species, even babies, making vicious logic when applying issues of individual selection and the qualifications by way of kin selection. Next example, another one with a similar flavor. And yeah.
But wouldn't evolution favor the male that didn't figure out that it was his children?
Yep, and I think probably the most technical Darwinian way of explaining that is the well-known propensity of blood flow to either go to male brains or penises. They just get impulsive at that point. They don't stop to think and get the gynecology textbook that, there no doubt is an advantage for the tiny subset of male langur monkeys who can actually be prudent at that point and think through the logic. It works with males. They fall for it, suggesting that a lot of what's going on there is not a conscious cognitive strategy. And this is sort of not a facetious answer when by the end of next week we get to looking at how do animals recognize individuals. With a lot of species, there's not a cognitive strategy. You're not able to sit there and figure out, wait a second, this isn't making any sense. So.
If not been logically figured out, but wouldn't evolution favor the males that, for any reason, whether they figure it out or they just feel like committing infanticide, that they do after 3 weeks instead of 5 months?
I think I think what it is that there's not a whole lot of males there who could make sense or who have been selected for making sense of the fact that mating has something to do with babies down at the other end of things. I think there's not been much selection for being able to cognitively do that, or to have some sort of rule. If I mate with this individual, anytime she produces a baby, I'm going to be unaggressive to the baby unless it's within this sort of time span. I think that's a little too much to have asked to evolve in sort of a primate system. The males fall for it.